here with Chef Don of Cress Creek Country Club in Naperville, Illinois. Thank you for joining us, Chef.
Thanks for having me, Basha.
Please tell me a little bit about how your restaurant aligns with what we're doing here at Poland on a Plate.
Well, when I was hired at Cress Creek Country Club, a lot of the members associated my last name, Zajac, with Poland. And we have many events during the year, whether it be Chinese, Mexican, Italian, and they asked, can we have a Polish night? And we do a Polish night every year.
Oh, that's so fun. So now today you can share with us some of your new Polish recipes.
Absolutely. We're taking a classic mushroom soup. We're taking the elements from classical Polish mushroom soup, and we're giving a new world twist.
All right, Chef, tell me what's first.
So first we're going to sweat our vegetables.
Okay.
And what we have here is what's called a mirepoix, and that's carrots, celery, and onions. And what we're sweating that in is whole butter. And why are we using whole butter? Because the lactic acid in the butter actually breaks down the mushroom.
So it's very important when you're making this to use that butter versus an oil.
Absolutely.
All right, so our soup base is started over there, and now we're turning our attention to the mushrooms.
And today, for the mushrooms, we're using a shiitake and we're using a portobello. And if I could have your assistance, we're going to clean the portobello mushroom. We're actually going to take the fins out of the portobello. And why do we take the fins out? Because the fins are a little bit bitter.
So mushrooms are a really important ingredient in Polish cuisine, not only because of their prevalence throughout the country, but also the strong tradition of foraging and going out mushroom picking. So while these mushrooms are a little bit different from what you would typically find in Poland, we're keeping very true to that same idea of using what is local and fresh around you.
And what's important with the mushrooms too, it's about flavors that you enjoy.
So you don't have to worry so much about tradition, use what you love, and you'll put your own stamp on this dish.
Absolutely. So it's important, we want the size of the mushrooms when we're cooking it to be somewhat consistent relative to cooking. We don't want big pieces and small pieces, but we're going to end up pureeing the soup. So, and when we puree the soup, we're going to find that it's going to release a lot of flavors.
So it's not so important to worry about getting this perfect. You just want them to be all generally the same size so that cooking is at the same rate.
Correct. So we've rough chopped our mushrooms, and we're going to add that to our stock pot. We're just going to stir this up a little bit, and we're going to let it sweat. And like we talked about before, the mushrooms will start to break down with the butter, and we'll be releasing those flavors. We have really flavorful stock. We're using a vegetable stock, and I've made it with celery, carrots, onions, garlic, tomatoes, a lot of the components we have at home already. And we're talking about building flavors with this soup, meaning a lot of recipes just call for water, but we're using a vegetable stock. Our roux, which is what we're making here, classically a French term, but that's equal parts of butter and flour. And today our flour, again, is the garbanzo flour. It's actually made from ground chickpeas.
So these are ground up garbanzo beans, which,
Correct.
like you said, also chickpeas, same thing in hummus, very versatile ingredient that maybe not too many people are familiar with using in their own kitchens.
Right. So if we're going to ask you to add the flour to the pot, and we're going to let those vegetables cook out with this roux. You can also see when we're building this soup, what's known as a fond is collecting at the bottom of the pan, and that's really developing a lot of flavor, a lot of bottom to the soup, and which fits perfect in with the mushrooms.
All right.
So we're going to take our vegetable stock. So again, I'm scraping from the bottom using a wooden spoon, and I'm scraping from the bottom, getting all that fond and releasing that flavor from the bottom of the pot. And it's, there's a fine line between browning, caramelization, and burnt.
Yeah, I've crossed it sometimes.
We want that caramelization, again, building that flavor. So what's important, we need to bring this up to a simmer and let that what's called cook out for 2-3 minutes. So when we puree the soup, I'm going to puree it to a medium consistency. We've pureed our soup, and now we're going to check for seasoning. So we want to make sure all the notes are there, that we can still we taste the shiitake, we taste the portobello.
This is wonderful, Chef. This is really great. You can taste all of those mushrooms. And actually, I even taste a hint of that garbanzo flour in there. Really does bring the earthiness, and that texture is spot on.
We're good on salt, we're good on pepper.
We're good.
Okay.
It's perfect.
So we're going to present our soup. So we see we have a great consistency with the soup, and now we're going to add some of the garnishing elements, being dill, parsley, and a little bit of sour cream. So we're going to, this is fresh Italian parsley, a little bit more flavor than the curly that you see sometimes. And we're going to chop up a little bit of dill here, giving it that old world flavor. We see a lot of dill in our cooking, whether it be curing our potatoes, our soups, on our pierogies. And so we're adding a little bit of that element to our mushroom soup today. And then we're just going to take a little bit of cream element.
How beautiful.
And again, it's a new world cream soup. We don't have the heavy element. It's lighter, healthier, and it's good for you.
Thank you so much for sharing this recipe with us. This is Chef Don's New World Mushroom Soup.